Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Toonist English. I'm Jack.
And I'm Lily. We are so happy you're joining us today. How are you doing, Jack?
I'm doing great, Lily. But I have to admit, I had a bit of a difficult morning. I had to tell my boss that I didn't agree with his new plan for our project.
Oh, wow. That sounds scary. Disagreeing with a boss or even a coworker can be very stressful. Most people want to avoid conflict because they don't want to be rude.
Exactly. That is actually our topic for today: how to disagree politely at work. We want to show our listeners that you can have a different opinion without starting a fight.
That's right. In fact, disagreeing is actually good for work sometimes. If everyone always says yes, we never find the best ideas. But the secret is how you say it.
Today, we are going to give you simple phrases, explain the I statement rule, and do some role plays so you can hear exactly how it sounds.
And stay tuned because by the end of this episode, you will feel much more confident the next time you need to say, I'm not sure I agree.
So, Lily, why do you think we find it so hard to disagree?
I think it's because of our emotions. When someone says, your idea won't work, we often feel attacked. It feels personal. We think they are saying we are bad, not just the idea.
That's a great point. Also, in many cultures, disagreeing is seen as disrespectful. People think that to be a team player, you must always agree.
But that's a mistake. A real team player helps the team find the best solution. If you see a mistake in a plan and you stay silent, the whole team might fail later.
I agree. But we have to use easy English and soft language. If I say, you are wrong, that is hard language. It closes the door to a conversation.
Yes, you are wrong sounds like a judge. Instead, we need to sound like a partner. We need to use soft language to keep the door open.
Let's look at some magic phrases. These are simple words that make a disagreement sound professional and kind. Lily, what is your favorite way to start?
My favorite is, I see what you're saying, but...
That's a classic. Why do you like it?
Because it starts with, I see. It shows the other person that I am listening. It acknowledges their point of view first. Then the but introduces my different thought.
I like that. Another good one is, I understand where you're coming from, however.
However is a very professional word. It's like a softer version of but.
Here's another one for when you aren't 100% sure. I'm not so sure about that. It's much better than saying, no way.
Definitely don't say no way to your manager. Here is one more. I have a slightly different perspective on this.
Perspective is a great word. It just means a way of looking at something. It's like saying we're looking at the same mountain, but from different sides.
Exactly. Let's list those again for our listeners. I see what you're saying, but I understand your points. However, I'm not so sure about that. I have a different perspective on this. I agree with you to a point, but...
That last one is very clever. I agree with you to a point. It means you agree with part of what they said, but not all of it. It builds a bridge before you cross the river.
Now, Jack, let's talk about a very important rule in conflict resolution, the I statement.
This is a life changer. Usually when we are angry or disagreeing, we use you statements. For example, you are making this too complicated, or you didn't give me enough time.
When you start a sentence with you, the other person immediately feels defensive. They feel like you are pointing a finger at them.
So instead of saying you, we start with I. Instead of you are wrong, we say, I feel that this might not be the best approach.
Or instead of you are being confusing, we say, I am a bit confused about this part. See the difference? I am talking about my feelings and my understanding. I am not accusing the other person.
It's much harder to argue with the feeling. If I say I feel worried about the deadline, my coworker can't really say, no, you don't. They have to listen to why I feel that way.
Let's try to change some you sentences into I sentences. You never listen to my ideas in meetings. I version, I feel like my ideas aren't being heard during our meetings.
Wow, the second one sounds so much more professional. Let's try another. You gave me way too much work today. I version, I'm concerned that I won't be able to finish all these tasks to a high standard by 5 p.m.
Perfect. It focuses on the work and the result, not the person.
Okay, Lily, let's do a role play. Listeners, pay attention to the phrases we use. In this scenario, Lily is the project manager. She wants to finish a big report by Friday. I am the researcher, and I think Friday is too early.
Hi, Jack. I just wanted to remind you that we need the final report on my desk by Friday morning. I'm excited to send it to the client.
Hi, Lily. I understand the urgency, and I know the client is waiting. However, I'm not sure that Friday is a realistic deadline if we want the data to be 100% accurate.
Really? But we talked about this last week. Why the change?
I see your point, and I did hope to finish by then, but I've noticed that the latest survey results are taking longer to analyze than we expected. I'm concerned that if we rush it, we might have errors in the final numbers.
I see. Errors would be very bad for the client. What do you suggest?
My suggestion would be to give me until Monday afternoon. That way, I can double-check everything. How does that sound to you?
Monday is a bit late, but quality is important. Let's aim for Monday morning.
That works for me. Thanks for understanding, Lily.
And scene. Okay, Jack, let's break that down.
First, I didn't say, no, that's impossible. I started with, I understand the urgency. This shows I know the goal. I am on the same team.
Then you use the magic phrase. However, I'm not sure that this is much softer than no.
And did you notice I used an I statement? I said, I'm concerned that, instead of, you are rushing me.
And the most important part, you offered a solution. You didn't just complain about the problem, you suggested Monday.
That's a big tip for our listeners. Never just say no, but here is what I can do.
Let's try another one. This time, we are coworkers. We are designing a new website. Jack has a very bright and colorful idea, but I think it looks too messy. I want it to be simple and clean.
Lily, look at this. I think we should use bright neon yellow for the background of the website. It will really grab people's attention.
Oh, wow. That is definitely a bold choice, Jack. I appreciate your creativity.
Thanks. I think it makes us look exciting.
I see what you're saying, and attention is definitely important. However, I have a slightly different perspective on the user experience.
Oh, what do you mean?
Well, I'm not sure that neon yellow is easy to read for a long time. I'm worried that users might find it a bit tiring for their eyes. What would you think about using a softer color, but maybe keeping the neon yellow just for the Buy Now buttons?
So the main background is soft, but the important buttons are bright.
Exactly. That way, we get the excitement you want, but the website stays professional and easy to use.
That's a really interesting idea. Let's try a few mock-ups and see which one looks better.
Great. Let's do that.
That was a great example of compromise.
Yes. A compromise is when both people give a little bit to find a middle ground. I didn't say yellow is ugly. I said, I appreciate your creativity.
That's a compliment sandwich. You started with something positive, then you gave the disagreement, and you ended with a positive suggestion.
It makes the bad news much easier to swallow. If you start with a compliment, the other person's brain relaxes. They are more likely to listen to your concern.
Also, you used a great question. What would you think about, this isn't a command, it's an invitation to think together.
Jack, even with the best words, a disagreement can still feel tense. What should we do with our bodies and our voice?
This is so important. If you say, I see your point, but your arms are crossed and you are frowning, people won't believe you.
Right. Your body language must match your polite words. Keep your arms open. Try to keep a neutral or friendly face. And most importantly, watch your tone of voice.
If I say, I understand, with a sarcastic high voice, it sounds like an insult. You need to sound calm and steady. Imagine you are explaining the weather to a friend.
Another tip is active listening. Don't just wait for your turn to speak. Really listen to why the other person wants what they want. Sometimes, if you listen closely, you realize you don't actually disagree as much as you thought.
Exactly. Maybe you both want the same thing, a successful project, but you just have different ideas on how to get there. Focus on the shared goal.
And if you feel yourself getting angry, what then?
Take a break. It is perfectly okay to say, this is an important topic, and I want to give it my full attention. Can we finish this conversation after lunch?
I love that. It's a professional timeout. It gives your brain time to cool down so you don't say something you regret later.
Now, what happens if you have tried all the phrases, you've listened, you've compromised, but you still completely disagree?
In the business world, we have a phrase for that. Let's agree to disagree.
It sounds a bit funny, doesn't it? Agreeing to disagree?
It just means that we acknowledge that we have different opinions and we are not going to change each other's minds right now. We stop arguing so we can move on to other work.
It's a way to save the relationship. It says, I respect you, even if I think your idea is wrong.
Sometimes the boss has to make the final decision. Even if you disagree, once the decision is made, you should say, I still have my concerns, but I will support the team's decision and work hard to make it a success.
That is the sign of a true professional. You expressed your opinion, you were heard, and then you moved forward.
Before we finish, let's look at a question from one of our listeners. This is from Sarah in Berlin. She says, my coworker is very loud and aggressive when we disagree. I feel too scared to speak up. What should I do?
That's a tough situation, Sarah. If someone is being aggressive, the first thing is to stay calm. If you get loud too, it becomes a fight.
Use a very quiet, steady voice. Often, when one person gets quiet, the loud person starts to quiet down too.
You can also use a boundary phrase. You can say, I really want to hear your thoughts, but I find it hard to focus when the tone is so intense. Can we speak more calmly?
That's very brave. It points out the behavior without being mean. And if they don't stop, Sarah, it might be time to bring in a manager or HR to help. Everyone has the right to feel safe at work.
We have covered a lot today, Lily. Let's summarize the main points for our audience.
Disagreeing is healthy as long as it is polite. It helps teams find better ideas. Acknowledge the other person first. Use phrases like, I see your point, or I understand where you're coming from. Use I statements. Talk about your feelings and concerns instead of accusing others with you sentences. Offer a solution. Don't just say no. Suggest a middle ground or a new idea. Watch your tone. Stay calm, keep your body language open, and listen actively. The compliment sandwich. Wrap your disagreement in positive comments.
And remember the magic phrases. I'm not so sure about that. I have a different perspective. However, what would you think about...
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Jack, I feel like I've learned a lot just talking to you.
Me too, Lily. Disagreeing doesn't have to be a battle. It can be a bridge to a better relationship.
If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to Toonist English and leave us a comment. We want to know, what is the hardest part about disagreeing for you?
We will read your comments in the next episode. Until then, stay professional, stay polite,
And keep talking. Bye-bye.